You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning, everyone. It's February the 24th, and welcome to Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News. Good morning, Rev Cindy. How you doing?
Good morning, Al. I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Not too bad. It's a Monday.
It is.
It's it's the day after the weekend. We're always disappointed the weekend's over.
That is true.
Yes, but we're one day closer to spring, and I can tell you this week's forecast has got 4 or 5 days above zero.
Same for us right now. It is hitting about zero. I had to take my cat to the vet this morning. But on the way back, when we were sitting at the vet, actually, you could see everything's melting with the sunshine that's out, hitting zero. And it's just like it was raining outside the windows because everything was melting off the roof. Very nice to see. And I hope that the warmer weather keeps up.
Yeah, well, I can tell you this winter has been pretty good for snow up here because it's been years since I've seen so many snowmobiles that are out and about on the trails, and see them along the side of the road where the trail comes out and stuff, eh? So It's good to see.
We've had closer to a normal Nova Scotia winter down here. We had a lot of people move here during COVID from Ontario and BC, and the people from BC were like, "Oh, we heard Nova Scotia winters were bad. This is nothing." So this year it's kind of like, what do you think of us now?
Snowville.
It's back.
That's right. All right. Time was back. Let's get back to the news. And first story is up.
Excellent. Coming to us from StratCan. Health Canada releases first results from cannabis data gathering program from legal and illegal markets.
Yes, the first results from Health Canada's cannabis data gathering program found that nearly half of the 50 samples of legal cannabis tested had THC levels under 80% of their label claim. Wow. At the bat. Although none of the illegal samples of dried flower tested included labeled THC levels, the results showed THC levels ranging from less than 10% to more than 25%.
Health Canada first announced it would launch a new data gathering program for cannabis markets in Canada in 2023, looking at both the legal and illegal products currently on the market. The project collected 100 samples of dried flower, 50 from the legal market and 50 from the illegal market.
In addition to testing for THC, samples were also analyzed for heavy metals, microtoxins, pesticides, and microbial contaminants. While there were some examples of pesticides, microtoxins, and other forms of microbial contamination in some legal samples, they paled in comparison to what was found in the samples of illegal cannabis. However, heavy metals were present in both sample streams and at times more common in legal products.
Interesting.
Yeah.
As somebody who has suffered injuries from legal products, I find this whole thing very interesting. Heavy metals like copper, molybdenum, and nickel were found in large proportion of both legal and illegal samples, some in concentrations that exceeded Health Canada's allowable limits. Heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, lead, and mercury were more common in samples of illegal cannabis, but only one illegal sample had arsenic levels above the United States pharmacopoeia tolerance limit set for inhalation. Arsenic was present in 44% of illegal products and 18% of legal products. Copper was detected in all of the samples, with 100% of legal products and 98% of illegal products exceeding the USP limit of 3.0.
I hope this article lets us know where all these minerals are coming, these heavy metals are coming from.
Yeah, like which ones do we avoid?
And how do we avoid them? Where are they coming from? Molybdenum, a trace mineral, was found in almost all samples, with 74% of legal products exceeding the USP limit compared to just 16% of illegal samples. Nickel was present in 78% of illegal samples and 72% of legal samples. In total, 2 samples exceeded the USP limit, namely 1 legal product and 1 illegal product. The highest level observed in legal products, which was 4.69 UGs per gram, was more than 5 times higher than the illegal products.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. Mycotoxins. While 6 samples of illegal cannabis tested positive for mycotoxins like oxytocin A, produced by certain molds such as Aspergillus and Penicillium, or Frank, why didn't you get this paragraph? Deoxynivalenol, associated with vomiting, diarrhea, and gastrointestinal inflammation in humans and animals. None of the 6 mycotoxins tested were found in legal samples. This is one, honestly, the mycotoxins that they're talking about, and that this is why some people think that they're allergic to cannabis, because they get sick off the weed, and if we can just switch them to clean cannabis,
right,
it would make all the difference in the world, right?
Yeah, because we were talking about that before the show started.
Yeah, and I've directed people to help get them off bad cannabis from various sources, and it's made all the difference in the world. Pesticides. Almost all illegal samples, 94% of them, had multiple pesticides in their testing results, averaging 3.4 pesticides per sample. A total of 24 different pesticides were identified, some at very high levels. And the most commonly found pesticide in illegal samples was, myclobutanil and paclopuracil.
Yeah. Now, out of the over 300 pesticide residues tested, only 2 samples of legal products showed trace levels of pesticides. I've never sprayed. I don't spray pesticides on my cannabis. I got to consume it. When it comes to microbiomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, a few legal samples were found to test positive for microbial contaminants. Illegal cannabis products were found to have significantly higher levels of microbial contamination, often exceeding European pharmacopoeia limits.
Yeah, these included pathogens such as, why do I get these paragraphs? Such as Enterobacter cloacae and bacteria associated with respiratory infections, such as, there are a number of them that you can get.
Yeah.
10 legal samples were found to contain microbial contaminants above the European pharmacopoeia limits, leading to 1 product recall. Over half, 55% of the 49 illegal samples tested for microbioles were found to be above the total microbial count limit, with levels reaching up to 9 million colony-forming units, compared to only 6% of legal products. I mean, the real key is when you get your cannabis and you light it, pay attention. If it makes you cough, if it burns black, if it keeps going out, throw it out.
I cough under any cannabis usually.
Oh, well, then that particular test is no good for you, but you can still pay attention to your ash and whatnot, right?
Yeah. Microbial contaminants like E. coli and Salmonella were only found in illegal products, and Aspergillus appeared twice as often in illegal samples than in legal samples. Now, as far as sourcing the samples, they say that the 50 samples of legal cannabis products were purchased from 5 retailers across Canada, both online and brick and mortar stores. The samples, which were labeled THC levels up to around 25%, came from 50 different licensed producers. Sampling was done between September and December of 2023. Product age is not considered a likely reason for these amounts of deviation from labeled THC due to the low presence of CBN, a marker of THC degradation.
Mm-hmm. The 50 illegal samples came from law enforcement seizures, mainly in BC and Ontario. Almost half of the illegal samples showed THC levels above 17.5%, with a few reaching around 25 to 27.5. Another 21 had THC levels between 12.5 and 17.4, while 6 were below 12.5 THC.
Now, Health Canada plans to continue the testing program in the future, and several provinces have also released testing results of illicit cannabis shared through law enforcement actions. Now, in 2022, Ontario shared a study showing that illicit edibles has significantly less THC than advertised and high levels of pesticides. New Brunswick and BC have also released similar testing results from illicit cannabis.
Concerns around inflated THC numbers in the legal market have prompted many in the industry, from labs to producers, consumers, and retailers, to call on the federal and even provincial governments to do more to ensure that THC levels reported on labels are accurate. The Ontario Cannabis Store says that they have seen a decline in the number of high THC products in its catalog after launching an internal testing program in 2024.
Wonder why. Now, in 2023, Rob O'Brien, the CEO and CSO of Super Research and Development in Kelowna, BC, shared his independent testing results online with 46 different cannabis products he purchased from BC cannabis stores.
Yeah, and I think this testing results online, if you click that I'm going to click it. You guys can't see me click it, but I'm just clicking it. And it'll take you right to his post and show you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
Good.
Excellent.
All righty, here we go. Moving on to the next story.
Coming to us from the Oakland Press, Colorado issues its first psilocybin-related licenses, kicking off the rollout of psychedelic industry.
All right, there's the mushrooms. Colorado regulators have issued the first licenses to individuals seeking to open psilocybin-related businesses. As of Thursday afternoon, the Department of Revenue's Natural Medicine Division had approved 7 license applications for prospective business owners, including one who wants to open a psilocybin mushroom cultivation and another who hopes to operate a healing center. Additionally, the division issued 1 license to a local who hopes to work in the nascent industry.
The licenses mark the first step in Colorado's rollout of a legal psychedelic-assisted therapy industry. Although individuals have received approval from the state, each respective business also needs to be issued a license before it can begin operating. So far, no business licenses have received approval from the Natural Medicine Division, according to state data. Still, regulators at the agency expect the public could have legal access to services in the space as soon as spring. Greenlay resident Troy Leonard is among the first people to have his application approved. The 33-year-old Marine Corps veteran is the CEO of a company called Valor Mines, which seeks to open a small mushroom cultivation facility in Englewood to supply licensed healing centers.
Leonard said he struggled with post-traumatic stress disorder and found relief from his symptoms through microdosing with psilocybin mushrooms. He and a business partner have been growing them for several years to share with other local veterans, and he hopes more will consider psychedelics as a mental health tool. Leonard says that it's a huge thing to me, probably one of the biggest or the greatest things I've done with my life besides fighting for the country.
Jillian Gordon also recently received an owner's license. Gordon is the co-founder and CEO of Go Within Collective, a prospective healing center in Lakewood that intends to offer psilocybin-assisted therapy alongside other mindfulness practices like yoga, meditation, and breathwork. The facility is expected to be a hub for individual practitioners who specialize in treating various conditions, she said. Gordon, who is also a health and wellness coach, has spent the past 5+ years in the psychedelic underground working primarily with people who experience chronic pain. She wants to transition into the regulated industry to ensure facilitators meet a mutually agreed upon standard of care. Licensure feels like a validation of the hard work the community has put into making that reality, she said.
She goes on to say that I'm looking forward to the level of accountability that is ahead. Instead of doing the best we can with what we have, actually having a set of standards to follow. We can openly collaborate so the level of safety is higher and a safe access is readily available for people. There you go.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Hopefully everything is successful for those who got the licenses and more people come along.
Yeah. Kind of exciting.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. All righty. There we go. Oh, what's that thing? Next one's a very good story and article. I really like this one.
Yeah. Coming to us from the International Cannabis Business Conference, cannabis may induce remission in Crohn's disease patients.
There you go. And
you might know something about that.
Yeah, I'm a crony. There we go. Crohn's disease is a chronic inflammatory bowel disease and a very serious health condition that affects the suffering patient's digestive tract. Crohn's disease can cause inflammation and ulcers in any part of the patient's digestive system. You got that right. I had it right from the tip of my lips to the tip of my butt. International research estimate that 6 million people are affected by inflammatory bowel disease globally. Unfortunately, there is currently no cure for Crohn's disease. Bingo.
Researchers in Pakistan recently conducted a meta-analysis focusing on medical cannabis use and Crohn's disease, finding that medical cannabis therapies may be associated with clinical remission of the health condition. Below is more information about the study and its findings via a news release from Normal. In Pakistan, cannabis use is associated with clinical remission in Crohn's disease patients, and it represents a promising therapeutic option for managing the disease, according to meta-analysis of placebo-controlled studies published in the Irish Journal of Medical Science.
A team of Pakistani investigators reviewed data from 5 randomized clinical trials involving 176 patients. In 3 of the trials, subjects used either cannabis cigarettes, which would be joints, or the placebo. In 2 of the trials, subjects ingested either plant-derived extracts or a placebo. Researchers determined the analysis indicates that cannabis may be beneficial in reducing clinical remission. Specifically, individuals receiving cannabis treatment exhibited substantially higher rates of clinical remission at 8 weeks compared to those in the control group.
The study's authors concluded, in conclusion, the meta-analysis suggests that cannabis could be a promising therapeutic option for managing CD with minimal side effects. The findings support its potential as an adjunct or alternative therapy, especially for patients unresponsive to modern treatments.
That's right.
And you can read the full text of the study by clicking the
link.
The links. Thank you. I couldn't think of that word. Here at the bottom of the story.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, when I found that story, and it's sort of similar to that have been published in the past. I posted in our Crohn's group that I'm involved in on Facebook, and a lot of support, I must say. But there was one fellow who was saying that it was misinformation and it was completely wrong.
Yeah.
But there's always,
well, sadly, there's still some reefer madness out there.
Yes, there is, and all you can do is give them the proof. Maybe share your own personal story, and that's what I did.
Yep. Keep educating.
That's right. Exactly. All right. Our last story before we go to break.
Oh, and this one's coming to us from SciPost. Bad trips and guilt. Why difficult feelings during a psychedelic use might actually be a good thing.
Maybe. Now, a recent study in the Journal of Psychoactive Drugs has shed light on a less discussed aspects of psychedelic experiences, the feelings of shame and guilt that can arise during these journeys. Researchers found that experiencing shame or guilt while using psilocybin, the psychoactive compound in magic mushrooms, is surprisingly common, affecting about 2 out of every 3 users. However, the study also offered a positive perspective, indicating that how well individuals process those difficult emotions, rather than the intensity of the feelings themselves, is linked to their well-being in the weeks following the experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The growing interest in psychedelic substances for potential therapeutic uses has largely focused on the positive outcomes and the transformation experiences they can induce. However, researchers recognize that complete understanding of psychedelics requires acknowledging the full spectrum of experiences, including the challenging ones. Historically, negative experiences, sometimes casually referred to as bad trips, have been somewhat sidelined in both public conversation and scientific exploration.
Yeah. Yeah, we try to call them challenging trips now instead of bad trips.
Mhm.
But they can actually bring some of the best healing. Scientists
Yeah.
sought to address this gap in knowledge by specifically examining the occurrence of shame and guilt during psilocybin experiences. They were interested in understanding how often these feelings arise, what factors might predict them, and how these emotions relate to a person's overall well-being after using psilocybin. The researchers hypothesized that while psychedelics are sometimes thought to reduce self-focused thinking, they might also, in some cases, bring feelings of shame and guilt to the forefront. This could be due to the profound self-reflection and emotional intensity that these substances can trigger. This work came from me witnessing firsthand the complex ways that psychedelics could affect people who were sometimes challenged in ways they couldn't even find language to describe. And this is coming from the study author, David Mathai. And he's the medical director of Sattva Medicine and a clinical assistant professor at Baylor College of Medicine.
Yeah, he goes on to say that those experiences reminded me of clients that I have seen working as a mental health clinician in traditional settings who struggled with feelings of shame and guilt. I began to realize this was an unexplored but critically important area when it came to understanding psychedelics use as well. The researchers designed a study that tracked individuals planning to use psilocybin in their everyday lives outside of the controlled clinical setting. They recruited 679 adults who were proficient in English and at least 18 years old through online advertisements and word of mouth. These participants were asked to complete a series of online questionnaires at different points in time surrounding their planned psilocybin experience. The study was conducted over a 2-year period from July of 2020 to July of 2022.
The questionnaires were administered at 6 different time points: 2 weeks before, 1 day before, 1 to 3 days after, 2 to 4 weeks after, and 2 to 3 months after their psilocybin use. The initial survey, completed 2 weeks beforehand, gathered demographic information and used established psychological scales to measure baseline levels of trait shame, which is a person's general tendency to feel shame, anxiety, both current and general, depression, past adverse childhood experiences, and cognitive flexibility, which is the ability to adapt thinking and behavior. Just before the psilocybin experience, participants were asked if they would have a guide or sitter present and complete a questionnaire assessing their level of psychological surrender or anticipation. In the days immediately following their psilocybin use, participants were asked to rate whether they consider the experience to be ultimately positive or negative. They also completed questionnaires measuring the intensity in any mystical type experiences and challenging experiences they had.
Crucially for this study, they also filled out a questionnaire designed to assess feelings of shame and guilt. That is, shame and guilt experienced specifically during the psilocybin session. This questionnaire was slightly modified to directly ask about these feelings in the context of their psychedelic experience. For those who reported experiencing any shame or guilt, additional questions were asked about how long these feelings lasted, how difficult they were, and whether they were able to constructively process these emotions during the session. 2 to 4 weeks after the psilocybin use, participants were again asked to complete the trait shame questionnaire and to rate any lasting changes in their personal well-being or life satisfaction resulting from the psilocybin experience. Finally, 2 to 3 months after their psilocybin use, they completed the trait shame questionnaire one last time.
Mathai and his colleagues found that feelings of shame or guilt during psilocybin use were indeed common. Almost 70% of the participants reported experiencing either shame or guilt at some point during the session. Specifically, about 56% reported shame and approximately 52% reported guilt. For a small percentage, about 12% of them, these feelings were reported at the highest possible intensity. The duration of these feelings varied, but for most, they lasted between 10 minutes to an hour. Interestingly, the only factor that consistently predicated experiencing shame or guilt was age. Younger participants were more likely to report higher levels of both shame and guilt during their psilocybin experience. Other factors, including pre-existing levels of trait shame, anxiety, depression, or past adverse childhood experiences, did not reliably predict acute shame or guilt during the psychedelic session.
Perhaps the most significant finding was the link between processing shame and guilt and later well-being. The study found that the degree in which participants felt they could constructively work through feelings of shame or guilt during the psilocybin experience was a significant predictor of their well-being 2 to 4 weeks later. In fact, individuals who reported being very capable of processing these emotions during their session actually reported higher levels of well-being and mystical experience compared to those who did not experience shame or guilt at all. This suggests that navigating challenging emotions during a psychedelic experience and finding a way to process them may be connected to positive outcomes. Now, it was surprising, according to what Matthew says here, it was surprising to see that individuals who were most able to work through feelings of shame or guilt during psilocybin use had the highest mystical experience and well-being ratings, even compared to individuals who did not experience those feelings whatsoever. It may be that certain degree of contact with psychologically challenging material during psychedelic use allows for greater overall benefit.
In terms of longer-term effects, the study found that on average, psilocybin use was associated with a small but statistically significant decrease in trait shame that was maintained for at least 2 to 3 months after the experience. However, it is important to note that this was an average trend. While most participants showed a decrease in trait shame, a notable minority, about 30%, actually experienced an increase in their general level of shame. This highlights the variable nature of psychedelic experiences and their potential impact on individuals. There are 3 main takeaways based on our study aims, he says. 1, acute feelings of shame and guilt may occur more commonly than people expect during psilocybin use and are very difficult to predict. 2, the ability to constructively work through shame and guilt when they arise seems to predict well-being for individuals rather than the magnitude of those feelings. And 3rd, psilocybin was shown to decrease trait shame on average, but increase shame in some individuals, suggesting the importance of appropriate psychological support for psychedelic use.
But, and there's always a but, the study, like all research, includes some caveats. Shame is a difficult construct to research, and different ways of measuring it may lead to different outcomes. Matthew noted, goes on to say that unfortunately, we were unable to characterize patients' specific experiences of shame and what it looks like to work through these feelings.
Future research could build upon these findings by examining shame and guilt in more controlled clinical trials of psychedelic assisted therapy. Further research could also explore whether different psychedelic substances elicit different types of challenging emotions and investigate the role of cultural background and diversity in these experiences. Understanding how to best support individuals in processing difficult emotions like shame and guilt during psychedelic experiences could be essential for maximizing the potential benefits and minimizing potential harms associated with these powerful substances. An important next step would be to use mixed methods and qualitative analysis to better characterize shame-related experiences with psilocybin, Mathai explained. It would also be valuable to replicate this research in more carefully controlled clinical trial settings.
And to finish up this story, it says, based on our findings and other emerging research, the activation of challenging emotions and memories with psychedelics could pose a unique and context-dependent learning condition for both therapeutic and detrimental forms of reconciliation. This is an important consideration that deserves further study as we think about optimal safety and support for psychedelic use. However, it's also worth pointing out that these types of experiences and their potential outcomes are not likely to be detected by the questionnaires routinely used in psychedelic drug development trials.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
There we go.
Yeah. Shame and guilt, and it can help, with that. I see we got a comment.
We do.
And Gordo says, "Good afternoon, all." Well, Gordo, it's still morning here, so
Yeah. Good
good
morning,
afternoon to you. I think Gordo is, we've talked to Gordo before. I know that, and I believe he was down under. I'm thinking.
I'm not sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but I know he's not in Canada or the U.S. I know that. He may get back to us to let us know. So
He's in Scotland.
Scotland. There we go. There it is.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. G'day, guy. How you doing? Alrighty. It's time for us to take a break. And time for us to medicate. We'll be right back. You're watching Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational News. We're live here at paceradio.net and the 420pace.ca.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
Are you looking to get your medical cannabis grow license? Limestone City Hydroponics can help patients through the process of obtaining their license to grow medical cannabis. What's that? You don't have a doctor? If you meet the medical criteria, Limestone City Hydroponics has a nurse practitioner who can assess and provide medical cannabis prescriptions. What are you waiting for? Contact Limestone City Hydroponics at limestonecityhydroponics.ca or call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Rerolled Saturdays. Check it out. Nothing but non-stop cannabis and psychedelic programming. Find it at 420pace.ca.
I'm having Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Hey, we're back from a break, and you're back with Psychedelics Cannabis Educational News. We got 4 more stories to cover before we're done, and we're going to start off in the second half right here in Canada to talk about how much cannabis we've sold.
Yeah, coming to us from StratCan. Canada reaches $500 million in monthly cannabis sales in December of 2024.
Yep. After showing signs of slowing down, Canada's retail cannabis sales shot up to their highest level so far in December of 2024 at just under $500 million in 1 month. Cannabis sales in December, $499.7 million, surpassed the previous high of $475.5 million in August of 2024, and even succeeded the previous high of $469 million in August of 2023.
Wow. All of these figures are non-seasonally adjusted. Seasonally adjusted sales numbers are somewhat lower. Statistics Canada also adjusts its numbers over time depending on data quality. The most recent sales figures are rated as C good, the lowest of the 3 ratings for data quality. Pardon me. Unsurprisingly, retail sales were highest in Ontario, Canada's most populated province, followed by Alberta, British Columbia, and Quebec.
Overall, retail sales saw steep declines in early 2024, largely driven by declines in Ontario's reported sales figures. While declines in sales after the holiday shopping season are expected, other provinces did not show a similar decline. If past sales history is repeated, expect significant declines in sales in January and February of 2025. December's 2024 monthly retail cannabis sales were up $51 million over year to year compared to December of 2023. This compares to
December of 22 to 23, 22.8 million year over year. December 21 to 22, they went up 71.6 then. 20 to 21, 57 million up. And in 2019 to 2020, 149.5 year-to-year increase.
You can see it right there in that chart, that graph. Eh?
Yep.
Yep. There you go.
Where's Nova Scotia here? Nova Scotia. I've got New Brunswick and New Brunswick. One of those has Scotia.
Yeah, I gotta say one of those gotta be Nova Scotia.
We got British Columbia and British Columbia as well.
Oh, I see that. That's interesting.
It is.
Wonder how we had that.
I don't know.
I think that maybe they need some updating on that graph, just when it comes to names. All righty, we'll move on to the next story, and it is on its way, and it is now up and ready to go.
Okay. Coming to us from the Oz, Canadian prisoners eager to get more cannabis.
Yeah, exactly. Cannabis and other illicit goodies were seized from Canadian prisons recently. On January 29th, staff at the medium security Drummond Institution in Quebec confiscated a package containing hashish, cannabis, shatter, and tobacco valued at $97,000.
Wow, the Correctional Service of Canada uses a number of tools to prevent drugs from entering its institutions, the CSC said in a news release. These tools include ion scanners and drug detector dogs to search buildings, personal property, inmates, and visitors. On January 31st, a package with methamphetamine, cannabis concentrates, cell phones and chargers, and USB adapters were intercepted at the Grand Cache Medium Security Institute in Alberta. And this estimated value was $60,100.
You know, and some people may say, well, cell phones, what do you want cell phones? You know, how can, but in jail, yeah, cell phones are are a commodity for sure.
Yep.
Yeah. CSC has set up a telephone tip line that you can call. And other crimes involving an unauthorized form of cannabis, RCMP in Alberta arrested a BC man for his role in a $47 million Western Canadian money laundering scheme.
Wow. Harry Seo, who's 30, of Burnaby, is one of 7 people charged for being part of a plot to launder money through online transactions of cannabis. The accused is also alleged to have been financially compensated by the criminal organization for laundering these proceeds of crime and for concealing its origins from law enforcement, regulatory authorities, and financial institutions. Additionally, the accused also operated 2 illicit cannabis-related businesses in the Edmonton and Burnaby areas, RCMP said in a news release. And 5 people have already been convicted.
There you go.
Wow. I didn't know what that story was going to bring by the headline.
No, just never know, because the headline writers are usually not the person who writes the article. It doesn't always happen that way, right?
Yeah.
So you just never know. The headlines can be misleading. There's no doubt about that. So, alrighty, on to our next story.
Oh, coming to us from the International Cannabis Business Conference. Cannabis provides improvements in Brazilian Parkinson's disease patients.
They're here. According to international researchers, the prevalence of Parkinson's disease was doubled in the past 25 years, with an estimated 8.5 million individuals living with the serious health condition. Now, according to the World Health Organization, it says that Parkinson's disease resulted in 5.8 million disability-adjusted life years, an increase of 81% since 2000, and caused 329,000 deaths, an increase of over 100% since 2000.
Wow. Researchers based in Brazil recently published the results of a case report that found that the use of medical cannabis oil provided symptomatic improvements in patients diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Below, we have more information about the study and its results via Normal. The daily administration of plant-derived cannabis extracts containing THC, CBD, and other cannabinoids is associated with significant improvement in a patient with late-stage Parkinson's disease, according to the case report published in the Brazilian Journal of Biology.
Brazilian investigators documented clinical improvements in a 77-year-old Parkinson's disease patient following his use of cannabis oil. The patient consumed up to 5 drops of cannabis oil twice daily for 3 months. The study's authors reported symptomatic improvements within 1 week of cannabis therapy. The patient's systems continued to improve throughout the trial period, resulting in a reduction in use of prescription medicines.
Yes. The case reports a significant improvement in both motor and non-motor functions in a patient with advanced Parkinson's disease following the administration of a full-spectrum CBD-rich oil containing THC and other phytocannabinoids, they concluded. The compelling results suggest that cannabis oil may offer a valuable and effective therapeutic option for individuals with Parkinson's. And you can take a look at the full text at the links provided.
Yeah, and these stories, majority of all these stories are all posted at our Psychedelics and Cannabis Educational Facebook page. So you can everybody can just find them there. Yeah. And talking about patients in Parkinson's disease, I was working with a fellow with Parkinson's, and his daughter told me that she was surprised to find him shaving, because he doesn't normally, he had to have help with it, and there he was doing it by himself. And she was just thrilled. So
and you told me that before we went on, and I shared a story. I know a gentleman who has severe Parkinson's. I didn't tell you this part though. He was a wood carver. He's a veteran, but he carved wood by hand as part of his PTSD therapy, and couldn't do it for years because, of course, of the shaking that came with Parkinson's. And cannabis helped him get that ability back.
To get it back, there you go. Improves his quality of life. Gets him what he enjoyed doing.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. There's always good stuff there. Alrighty, on to our last story of the day.
Yeah, coming to us from MJ Biz Daily, Trump administration refusing to return seized New Mexico cannabis, suit says.
Let's see what this is about. The Trump administration is refusing to return more than $1 million of cannabis seized from state-licensed New Mexico cannabis companies. Okay, state-licensed. At Interior Border Patrol checkpoints over the past year. That's the claim made in a lawsuit recently refiled in the U.S. District Court for the District of New Mexico.
So federal and state are about to fight. This is going to be interesting. Yeah. Originally filed this past October, the lawsuit against the U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the Customs and Border Protection Agency was refiled by 8 state licensed companies on February 14th, court records show. The 8 plaintiffs are Melissa Valley Extracts, Royal Cannabis, Super Farm, Impact Farms, Chadcor Holdings, Mylars, Roland Love, I like that one, and Desert Peaks Farms.
Yep, the general scope of the lawsuit remains the same. As licensed cannabis operators told MJ Business last April, they've encountered an uptick in federal authorities seizing cannabis at interior checkpoints along major transit corridors in the state. The Trump administration has yet to respond to the amendment complaint, and no court hearings are currently scheduled according to the docket.
But they said this actually started with Biden.
Biden, correct.
Yeah, and continuing with Trump. Through federal authorities in October, though federal authorities in October returned vehicles impounded during the seizures, the lawsuit seeks a return of seized cannabis and currency. Under the Biden administration, the Justice Department filed a motion in January to dismiss the suit, shortly before Donald Trump began his second term as president.
The crux of the DOJ's argument to dismiss what was that cannabis is currently a Schedule I controlled substance under federal law, and that the seizures, including the asset fortunes, were valid. The DOJ argued in its July 14th filing that the federal drug laws expressly extinguish property rights in Schedule I controlled substances, and they further provide that such substances are contraband subject to summary forfeiture.
It's an axiomatic that to the extent federal law conflicts with state law, federal law prevails. It's not yet clear how the DOJ might pursue the case under Pam Bondi, the new U.S. Attorney General.
It's also unclear how across-the-board cuts at the federal agencies overseen by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency might impact the case. The lawsuit, first reported by Green Market Report, claims violations of the plaintiff's due process rights under the Fifth Amendment, as well as violations of the 10th Amendment.
Federal authorities are also undermining the state's ability to regulate commerce, the lawsuit adds. Defendants' decision to selectively enforce the Controlled Substance Act at interior checkpoints within the state, New Mexico, also interferes with New Mexico's broad autonomy to pursue its legislative objectives and its core sovereign rights to regulate interstate commerce, the lawsuit notes.
Additionally, defendants' selective enforcement interferes with New Mexico's core sovereign judicial and police processes, as it has the potential to result in the influx of untraceable cannabis products within the state. It also diverts the defendants' limited resources from ensuring the border in New Mexico is secure, which has the potential to result in the influx of illegal immigrants and state illegal substances into the state. So there you go.
There we go.
They want their cannabis back, and they'll have to see how Pam Bondi does that, and they're coming into the state and taking it from the people of the state. And this is one reason why I say state rights, they should have it legal federally, not just statewide.
Yep. Oh, yeah. But I mean, something like this happening, I hope is going to make that happen.
Yeah, make changes.
This is going to be an interesting fight to watch happen. I'm excited for it to happen. It's the same as that's how we get the laws changed. We get caught, we go to court. I mean, that's how we got cannabis legal.
Yeah. And you go back again. It's been done over and over. So many times patients had to go back before the courts to win their rights here in Canada. And the courts have been the ones that have been doing it for us. So.
Yep.
All righty. That's it. We've gone through all our stories today.
We did.
Yeah, we're even done early, so that's good. All right. Anything else before I sign us out?
I don't think so. I think that's all for now. We got the stories done. We got them in. We're done. A bit early, so we're not going over. I think life is good right now.
Yeah, I think so. All right. That's the news report for today from the Legacy420.com news desk. But I always have to say thanks to our buds, the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, At-Eze.ca, Lifestyle. Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, Limestone City Hydroponics. And in closing, as always, thanks for tuning in and thanks for watching. And do not forget to educate, medicate, and whatever we do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20 is so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420 enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.